Aloha, Pepsi Cola, and a happy Martin Luther King Day. So, this is a park in Indianapolis. It's like a Martin Luther King Memorial Park. And I thought that'd be a good spot to check out on Martin Luther King Day. Because Robert F. Kennedy had a speech here. Here on the evening of April 4th, 1968, Kennedy came to address a large crowd of mostly African Americans in his bid for the Democratic Party nomination for President of the U.S. Instead, visibly shaken, he gave an impromptu speech about the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. that day in Memphis, Tennessee. Kennedy urged the crowd to follow Reverend King's lead and respond with understanding and prayer, citing the need to avoid division, hatred, and violence. He called for love, wisdom, compassion, and justice. The speech is credited with keeping Indianapolis calm, while other cities reacted with violence. And over here, it's a big sign, big thing over here with Kennedy's words. So, from the words of Robert F. Kennedy, what we need in the United States is not division. What we need in the United States is not hatred. What we need in the United States is not violence and lawlessness, but is love and wisdom and compassion towards one another and the feeling of justice towards those who still suffer within our country. So Robert F. Kennedy, April 4th, 1968. So, yeah. And inside of this building, we have some pictures of MLK. On April 4th, 1968, Senator Robert Kennedy announced to a crowd assembled on these grounds that Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had been shot and killed. The mound to your left is the actual spot from which Senator Kennedy spoke. This marker, built with the remains of guns collected and then destroyed in a community-based effort to stop the violence in our neighborhoods, stands in memory of that historic moment. This actually has some handguns. Looks like some revolvers and some pistols. Yeah. And so there's a picture of Martin Luther King. There's Robert F. Kennedy to the right. It looks to be the crowd that was assembled to where Robert F. Kennedy was giving the speech. So yeah, and that mound right there is where Robert F. Kennedy was addressing a crowd of Indianapolis. We have another picture of Martin Luther King. It's a painting. Okay, so the metal panel bearing Robert F. Kennedy's words, and the graphic mural depicting Robert F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King Jr., and the Indianapolis crowd gathered in this park on the night of April 4th, 1968, were installed and commemorate the 50th anniversary of King's assassination and Kennedy's speech. Special thanks to these donors for this installation. So these people helped out with that. Cool. Yeah, I don't know what this building is. It seems like it would have been like maybe something related to it, this place. I don't know. And up here, we have the landmark for peace in memory of Larry Conrad. Has been made possible by the generous contributions of these individuals and institutions. Yeah. Oh, this is really good. Yeah, so we got Martin Luther King and Robert Kennedy reaching out their hands. Yeah. Really powerful stuff. April 4th, 1968, the last day in the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Senator Robert F. Kennedy spoke these words. Martin Luther King dedicated his life to love and justice for his fellow human beings, and he died because of that effort. In this difficult day, in this difficult time for the United States, it is perhaps well to ask what kind of a nation we are and what direction we want to move in. For those of you who are black, considering the evidence there evidently is that there were white people who were responsible, and you can be filled with bitterness, with hatred and desire for revenge. We can move in that direction as a country. Great polarization. Black people amongst black, white people amongst white. Filled hatred towards one another. Or we can make an effort, as Martin Luther King did, to understand and to comprehend and to replace that violence, that stain of bloodshed that has spread across our land with an effort to understand with compassion and love. For those of you who are black and are tempted to be filled with hatred and distress at the injustice of such an act against all white people, I can only say that I feel in my own heart that the same kind of feeling I had a member of my family killed. But he was killed by a white man. But we have to make an effort in the United States. We have to make an effort to understand, to go beyond these rather difficult times. My favorite poet was Aeschylus. He wrote in our sleep, pain which cannot forget falls drop by drop upon the heart until, in our own despair against our will, comes wisdom through the awful grace of God. What we need in the United States is not division. What we need in the United States is not hatred. What we need in the United States is not violence or lawlessness, but love and wisdom and compassion towards one another, and a feeling of justice towards those who still suffer within our country, whether they be white or they be black. We've had difficult times in the past. We will have difficult times in the future. It is not the end of violence. It is not the end of lawlessness. It is not the end of disorder. But the vast majority of white people and the vast majority of black people in this country want to live together, want to improve the quality of our life, and want justice for all human beings who abide in our land. Let us dedicate ourselves to what the Greeks wrote so many years ago, to tame the savageness of man and to make gentle the life of this world. Let us dedicate ourselves to that and say a prayer for our country and for our people. Through the outstretched arms of Dr. King and Senator Kennedy, may be seen the sight of this speech. Well, this has been Corey. Stay safe out there and have a great Martin Luther King Day. I will see you in the next one. Peace out. Peace.